Good morning, and I want to welcome you to Slaying Your Giants. I'm your host, Pastor C.R. Brown, and we're doing a series. It's called Sometimes When God Just Don't Make Sense. I hope this will be a blessing to you and that it will help you in your walk and your endeavor with God. You know, the Apostle Paul referred to the problem of unanswered questions when he wrote, "Now we see but a poor reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." 1 Corinthians 13 and 12. Paul was explaining that we will not have the total picture until we meet in eternity. By implication, we must learn to accept that partial understanding. Unfortunately, many believers and some of the older believers too do not know that there will be times in every person's life when circumstances don't add up. When God doesn't appear to make sense, this aspect of the Christian faith is not well advertised. Anywhere it should go, it's not well advertised. We tend to teach new Christians the portion of our theology that are attractive to a secular mind. For example, a crusade. There was a crusade that I respected very much. And they passed out tracts that said it talks about the four spiritual laws. The first of those scriptural principles states God loves you and offers a wonderful plan for your life. That statement certainly is true. However, it implies that a believer will always comprehend the wonderful plan and that will approve of it. That part, my friend, may not be true. Some people, such as, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Joni Erickson, is the one that was in the wheelchair. Uh, the wonderful plan means life in a wheelchair as a quadriplegic. For others, it means early death, poverty, or the scorn of society. You see, for the prophet Elijah, it meant being cast into a dark dungeon. Uh, for the prophet Jeremiah, it meant being cast into a dark dungeon. For other Bible characters, it means execution. Even in the most terrible of circumstances. However, God's plan is wonderful because anything in harmony with His will ultimately works out for our good. In Romans, that tells us about that in Romans 8 and 28. Still, it is not difficult to understand how confusion can develop at this point, and especially for the young during the springtime of their years, when health is good and hardships, failures and sorrows have not yet blown through their tranquil little world. It is relatively easy to fit the pieces in place. One can honestly believe, with good evidence, that it will always be so much a person is extremely vulnerable to spiritual confusion if trouble strikes at that point. I want to thank you for joining me this morning. I'm glad you could join me for sometimes when God doesn't make sense. If you're having problems, or if you know somebody that's having problems coping with certain things, give this site to them. Uh, and I believe that God will help them as well as He will you, as well as He does anybody else. Until next week, go with God. Remember, faith in God can do and move mountains. Until next week, I'm your host, Pastor C.R. Brown. Bye bye for today.